So a lot of people might be thinking up to now, geez, this is a lot of rah-rah. I'm not one of those people that likes the rah-rah. I like practical steps. I want to know, what do I do? I know there's some people here that are just business owners, correct? Can I see your hands? Yes? Some people just not even involved in voice of any kind. You just want to use your voice more effectively at work. That's great. Some people who want to get into the voiceover business, are there some of those? Plenty. Okay, quite a few more. And you're sitting there going, when am I going to get the real meat and potatoes? Okay. Listen carefully, because I'm going to share some things. So the first thing is, that's my name. I've kind of been embarrassed about it for quite a long time, believe it or not. In fact, when I got into the voiceover industry, I was so excited. I thought, I can be anybody I want to. So I decided I'm going to go by my middle name, which is David. So I became Dave Ressel. Nobody calls me Dave Ressel except myself. And the thing is, what I've learned from that, here's a little lesson, is that whatever you decide to brand yourself, and I know Mark will do that tomorrow, be confident in what it is who you are. I think I got more confident when there was this ex-South African named Elan Musk in America, and when I saw him, he said, well, he can be Elan. I suppose I could go back to being Elan. There we go. Why not? And so all I'm saying is that whatever you decide to do, be confident in it. You've seen a lot of time being spent this morning with Dominic and Mark talking about confidence and all these things. I'll give you a little story, and I'll backtrack. And I will jump around a lot, and that's just because that's how my mind flows. So bear with me, okay? It'll all come together in the end. When I first got into the voiceover business, I was given an opportunity to do a voiceover. It was a long 30-minute read, and I was so excited about this. It was for a friend. He had said, I know a guy who is a struggling voiceover artist, and he can get into this. And I went to the studio, I sat down, and somebody put a whole drawer full of socks into my mouth. That's what it felt like. And they said, would you like some water? Yes, please, like that. Can I have another glass? I finished the whole thing in about 3 seconds flat. And after reading the first paragraph, the guy said, okay, that's great. Now, can you do it with more, this? He gave me some direction. I thought, this is going to be the longest day of my life. I couldn't wait to get out of there. It was horrible. Actually, I wish I'd recorded it, because you don't believe me. Maybe you do. You say, yeah, I can see you're still nervous. Yep. That's why I hide behind microphones. And it was an awful experience. And that's why they've spent so much time talking this morning about confidence. You all want to know how to get into an industry, whether it's voiceover or something else. Getting in is not the problem. Staying in is the problem, right? Getting in, I can give you 100 ways to get in. But if you're an arse to deal with, they'll never book you again, right? I am not so much of an arse. Don't speak to my staff about that. They might disagree with you, okay? But that's how the business has continued to grow. Getting in is not the problem. Staying in and getting repetitive work, because if you know anything about voiceovers, there's very few jobs that you can do one voiceover and keep getting paid for it for the next 20 years. Maybe there are some, I don't know. You're going to have to keep doing the work. You're going to have to keep booking jobs, and you're going to have to keep getting things coming in. And there's a lot of voiceover artists that are way better than me. Believe me, many of them sitting in the audience over here. None of them, I don't know about none, but very few of them are as busy as I am, okay? And there's method to my madness, believe it. Okay, so I'm going to just tell you a little bit about some of my previous lives, as I call them. You know what YOLO stands for? What does it stand for? Yeah, you only live 9 times. That's my one over there underneath. That's the YOLNT, okay? And I say that because I feel like I've had multiple lives getting here. Has anyone ever had a job and everyone goes to you, man, you're in the wrong industry. You're in the wrong... Put your hands up if somebody said that to you. Then you were definitely in the right room today, okay? Because that's what so many people said to me. I did a bunch of different things, and I'm going to go through a couple of them very quickly, because you're not going to believe the stuff that I've done to get to where we are right now. These are some of my previous lives. Oh, you can't see that. Okay. The first one says gymnastics coach. That's true. I was a gymnast. I trained from the age of 3 till the age of 21. I trained. I got my first job at the age of 15 coaching kids. And I can do a backflip right now on the stage. Do you want to see? 5 years ago, I could have, maybe. Q&A session, Q&A. Okay. But Yeah, I coached it. I loved it. I was besotted about gymnastics. Couldn't think about anything else. What did you do? Did you get into drugs when you were earlier? No, Elan says. I was just swinging around a bar. That's what I was doing, right? And running around in a leotard. I know it's embarrassing now, but the men do wear leotards too. Anyway, that job took me, it was my very first job, and I actually ended up doing it in America. I moved to the States, to California, when I was 18 years old, and I lived there for 3 years. I intended staying longer. President Clinton said no, so I came back. But I coached in the United States. And the one thing I realized is this. There are a lot of talented people all over the world. But they're no more talented than you and I coming from South Africa. That's why South Africans go overseas and kick it over there. They kick butt because we really are not only trying to do our jobs. And one of the things I always say, in South Africa, it's hard enough being in your own business. But when you have to fight Eskom, and you have to fight cable theft, and you have to fight taxi strikes, and you have to do all those things and do all that in addition to keeping your business alive, this is what makes you mentally tough. Right? I think that you've got a huge opportunity building a business in South Africa, more so than anywhere else in the world, because it is tough to keep things going over here. There's been times when the power goes out in the middle of, I'm doing an online thing, and you're like, you freak out, but you get it through it. And that's a very important thing. Next thing I'm going to talk about, here's a whole bunch of other ones. Okay, so there we go. Marketing business. I had a marketing business, like Dominic. I tried to get into the network marketing. I was going to be a multimillionaire by the age of 25. Got involved when I was 20. And by the age of 30, I realized that maybe I wasn't going to do so well in that, okay? But I did learn a couple of things that have helped me today. And the one thing, if I can break it down to one thing, it was about people skills, right? I can walk up to anybody, I can introduce myself, anybody, from the person who is cleaning the streets to the CEO of a company, and I can relate to that person. I can introduce myself. I can build a connection with that person. I think that that's one of the most important skills that you need in business, as well as to be a good voiceover artist, right? If you don't have a connection with people, like, what was Mark saying? Listening, right? Listening here. What about listening here? People want to know that you actually care until they care how much you know. All right, so that's what I learned from that business. Well, it was 10 years that it took me to learn that, so you've just saved yourself 10 years right now. What does the next one say? Sales. So I couldn't do well in networking, so I thought, well, let me get into sales. I started selling all kinds of different things. Wasn't really good at it. Eventually, it says over here, IT support. I used to fix computers. I took one of those A+ courses to fix computers. It was so embarrassing. On my first day on the job, the boss, my colleague calls me and says, the boss's computer's not working. I didn't know this. He was testing me. So I said, okay, what do you want me to do? He says, can you come and have a look at it? So I walk into the office and I sit down on the computer and I'm checking the network. What do we do? Eventually I gave up. I'm like, I don't know what it is. The guy walks in and goes, and I just went, oh, I'm in the wrong business. It was embarrassing. But that's what it was. It was trying all kinds of different things. I joined the travel industry. I know there's a couple of people here in the travel industry. I really respect you. It's a great industry. I loved it. And I tried to do sales and key account management. And I sucked at that. The boss told me, he was the CEO. He was acting as the sales manager. And he said, you're not very good at this. So he said, we like you, you're a nice person, but try and find something else to do at this company. I said, I noticed all his personal assistants kept leaving home crying at the end of the day because he was quite a tough guy. And I said, what about me being your personal assistant? So that's how I became a personal assistant. And I worked for him for a couple of years until I got recruited to work for a billionaire, working as his personal assistant. That was kind of fun, picking him up off the floor when he was drunk. And then, once I got fired from that job, I sat there, and I was 32 or something like that, and I sat there going like, well, actually, I'm glad I was fired. I didn't really want to be a personal assistant for the rest of my life. That wasn't for me. I know it's I'm not saying it's not a good, respectable job. It just wasn't what I wanted to do long term. And I said, what do I really want to do? And you know what I really wanted to do? I wanted to become a voice actor because I heard that these guys made huge money. They walked into a studio, they sat down, they go, blah, 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 blah. Thanks, see you next week. And then they like made 10,000 Rand or something like that. And I was like, wow, that sounds so cool and so easy and fun. And I used to listen to, Mark Chase on the radio. One of my other previous lives, I was a taxi driver. I used to drive kids to and from clubs on the weekends. That was like a part-time extra little business to keep going. And I used to listen to him on the radio and going, this guy thinks he's so cool. Before I met him, obviously. Now I know he's so cool. And what happened was, I decided I'm going to be a voiceover artist. So I figured, how do you become a voiceover artist? So I called a friend of mine. I called a friend, and he knew someone who was a voice artist because these guys are like very rare. They're like hen's teeth. You can't find them. They mysterious. You know, you never know. You hear their voice, and you're like, oh yeah, Andrew, that's the guy from Comedy Central. I know that voice, yeah, but I don't know his face, and I would never know how to meet him. So I called a friend. The guy said, I know a voiceover artist. And he gave me the guy's number, and I called him, and I said, I believe you're a voiceover artist. He said, yes. I said, a lot of people told me I should do something on radio, and I want to become a voice artist, he said. He was a very friendly guy. He said, okay, come with me. I'm going to do a voice at Prime Media. I was like, okay, I'm going to go along. And I organized with it, and I went there like in a lunch break or after work or something, and I went, and he was reading inside. He made it look so easy. I thought, I'm going to kill this industry. It's going to be awesome. They haven't seen talent until they've met me. Now I'm here. Get ready, world. Here we go. And yeah, in my mind, I could do it. Until that point in time when I got into the studio with a mouthful of socks and completely crashed and burned. So if you have done a voiceover, congratulations, you've done one of the scariest things you'll ever do in a studio. If you haven't yet, get ready to do one of the scariest things you'll ever do. But it's, like I said, it's not about getting in, it's about staying in. I couldn't thereafter get an agent. I tried to go to get agents, and they said, no, we've got enough guys like you, and you're not all that great anyway. And inside, I had, I guess, what we call chutzpah. Have you heard of this word, chutzpah, anyone? I'm very impressed that everybody who stands up here speaks English, because this is the only language I can speak. Although I do know a few Yiddish words, okay? Chutzpah is a Yiddish word. Do you know what it means? Yes? I'll tell you a little story to explain it. There's a man, and there's an old lady. She's selling apples, and the apples are... How am I doing for time, Mark? Okay. So there's this old lady, and she's selling apples on the side outside this, like a big bank, and it says a sign that says apples 1 rand. And this man, he's a banker, he comes out the bank, and he feels sorry for this lady. Shame, look at her there. So he just takes a rand, and he gives it to her, and she like offers him the apple, and he's like, no, keep it. So she says, thank you. So this happens like every week. Every week the guy comes there, he gives her a rand, the lady takes the rand, thank you, keep the apple. Gets to December time, he goes on holiday, he goes to Mauritius, he comes back, he's all ready for a successful year, and he walks up, he goes to work, obviously, and there's the old lady, and he walks up and he gives her the rand, and she says, it's 1 rand 50 now. That's chutzpah, okay? Chutzpah means a little bit of cheek, a little bit of guts, a little bit of, you know what? I don't care that I sucked, I don't care what you all think, I will succeed. I'll figure out a way to make it happen. That's what you need, especially if you're building a business in South Africa, I'll tell you that much. And so what happened was I was really lucky. And luck is just when preparation, luck is, what do they say? Opportunity in work clothes. You know, all of you are lucky. Just some of you are just not going to take it. I invited some people to come to this seminar this weekend. And some said, it's a bit far, I can't make it, and stuff like that. Well, they missed out, isn't it? They can't complain then when you're successful or you do something amazing because they had the same lucky opportunity. So, luck is just when you walk past someone. Like there's someone in the audience today, and I'm in the shopping center, and I'm walking past, and I just go, whose voice is that? Hello, who's that? oh, geez, that voice sounds amazing. I wonder who she is. And I go and introduce myself. And then I get her details. And I say, I sometimes need young female voice artists. Give me your details and I'll let you know if there's an opportunity. That's luck, but being prepared to do something about it. I could have just gone, I really need to get the toilet paper. Okay. That's how it could have been. And then that's when the window of opportunity just closes. So I was lucky. I got somebody who I met online on a Facebook group. She said, what do you do? I said, I'm a voiceover artist. I sounded confident. I'd never done a single voiceover up until that moment. She says, that's very interesting because my company is a software company and we're looking for a voiceover artist. I said, at that point, I was running out of money. I was thinking, I've never told anyone this, I was thinking of starting a gorillagram business. Do you know what a gorillagram is? When somebody dresses up as a gorilla and you tell them to go to somebody's office and sing them happy birthday. That's what I was thinking of. So when she said, we're looking for a voice artist, I'm like, gorilla, no, voice artist, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. And I went for an interview on the Thursday, and they said, can you record this? It was terrible. I recorded it like on a laptop. I didn't have a microphone or anything. It was with iPhone headsets. And I recorded. They said, oh, sounds pretty good to us. They didn't know anything. They knew even less than me. So, which is another thing. Remember, when you decide you're a voiceover artist, nobody else that you're going to come into contact with has ever been a voiceover artist. They don't know what it's like. So you automatically have more knowledge than they do. Okay? So take the chutzpah and run with it. They said, come on Friday. I went to Friday. I said, meet the manager. I met the manager, and he said, okay, great. You'll start on Monday. We'll pay you this, and you'll be our guy. And that's how I ended up getting a full-time gig as a voiceover. I was happy to take anything at that point. I think we could have been selling anything. Kitty litter. I think I would have been. I'll be the kitty litter voiceover guy, absolutely. And so I started that Monday, and I worked there for 2 years. He also said, by the way, can you edit videos? I'm like, yeah, pretty sure I can figure it out. That's chutzpah, right? And in those 2 years, I learned how to become a video producer based on what this company needed. I got to a point afterwards where, after 2 years, I'd done a big project for Vodafone in the UK. That was one of their clients. In 3 months, I'd made enough money. I'd paid for my entire year's salary for the company and made a big profit. And that was the time when I met Mark Chase, and we met at a braai, and we started talking, and he said, and I thought, you know what, maybe this trying things on my own, it's working okay. I was learning a little bit. I said, but I've heard that if you want to get good, you've got to get some experience from somebody that knows what to do, some coaching. And so I said to him, I remember standing on his balcony at his home, and I said, Mark, I'm doing okay at the software company. I'm earning quite as much as I should, but I think if I got some coaching, I would have the confidence to be able to go. And that's probably what a lot of you are thinking right now. You're like, if I knew what to do, I would go and do it, right? That's exactly what. I just need to know what to do. You know what Mark said to me? I'll never forget it. Now, bear in mind, I've got a job that's not earning me enough money. I'm living off my credit card. I'm waiting for my annual bonus to pay off the credit card to get back to broke. That's where we were looking to. And I've got 2 young kids at home. I'm living in I'm renting a 1-bedroom flat. And I'm just asking desperately for some help from the one guy I know that will definitely help me, who will be there for me. I say, Mark, will you be my coach? And he looked at me and he says, you know what? I'll coach you when you quit your job. You bloody asshole. Yeah. I thought, here I am, pouring my soul out. And that's the kind of advice he gives me. So you know what? I thought, geez, okay, that's a bit harsh. And I thought, but I'm due for a big raise now because I just made this big project for Vodafone. I'm sure they're going to give me a big raise. Went to a meeting, had the meeting with my manager's manager, and he made some excuse up saying, the company's expanding in India. We spent a lot of money on staff, blah, 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 and we don't really... And so I ended up with about 20% of what I expected. And that was it. I just went, finished. I'm doing my own thing. I wasn't stupid. I didn't say, I quit, I'm out of here. Don't be stupid. I said to them, okay, what I'm thinking is perhaps I don't need to be in the office to do the work that I need to do all the time. Perhaps we could work on an arrangement where I work from home because I've got kids at school and they need to have a dad here for the holidays, and maybe we can do something like that. And they became my first client, and working from that. And I worked at home in this horrible little pine desk in the corner of the living room. I had a microphone that wasn't adjustable, so I put it on 4 Collier's encyclopedias to get it up to the right height over here. And I recorded into this little computer, which was later stolen. But that's how it started. And today, well, I mean, I know I haven't got many awesome slides to show you, but I just thought I'd show you something like that. That was me and my brother starting out being entrepreneurs. I don't know how old I was about 5. We were selling peaches, boxes of peaches outside our house here in Blairgowrie for R1.50 for a whole box. Both my brother and I now have successful businesses. Mine has been going for 5 years. His is going for almost 2 years. And I think what you don't need to do anything. You can be very happy having a job. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. You can be very happy being an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is somebody who's like I was when I worked for the software company. I was learning things and making things happen. They didn't even tell me what to do. I just said, no, we need to do this and that. Working really well inside a company. You can do that too. Or you can be an entrepreneur. I highly recommend being an entrepreneur at some stage in your life, because how else are you going to get gray hair like me? Okay. That's one of my happiest memories. That was when I was a personal assistant, before I even was a voiceover artist. But I met Madiba through being a personal assistant, and let me just say, billionaires have influential friends. And it was quite fun. So the US connection. Mark mentioned something about, so how do you go from starting in a little corner of a room to having a business that spans the globe, having clients in all different countries, earning dollars and whatever other currency you want to do? If you've all got your notepads down, open, get ready. I'm giving you a practical step on what you need to do in order to build an international business. Are you ready? Have a daughter by mistake. That's my secret. Okay. Let me elaborate. I have a son. He's got a mom. She's not my wife. It was accidental. She and I split up. She came back to me a little while later and said, you know what? I'd like to have another kid. I said, great. Enjoy yourself. She said, no, I'd like it to have the same father, and I don't really want another man. I'd like it to have the same father. I said, oh, sure. This is a tough decision, because now I've got a kid who calls me daddy. If she has another one with no father, then that one's going to call me daddy too, because he calls me daddy. So I'm going to be the daddy of that one because of her decision. So I may as well be my child. So that's how I have a daughter. And so how does the US come to it? Well, when my little girl was 2 years old, she was invited to a birthday party. At the birthday party were a whole bunch of parents, and we were all sitting around not knowing each other, much like we're all sitting over here not knowing one another. The one guy sits down next to me, and I say, oh, so, we're chatting. What do you do? He says, oh, no, I work for a software company, and I listened. I just listened. Oh, really? Okay, yeah. And so you guys do a lot of training or something like that. Do you ever use videos and things like, oh, yeah, no, we actually be talking about that. And they actually been saying something. I just listened, keep asking questions, fishing, until he basically hooked himself. And then he said, so what do you do? And then I did my 30-second elevator speech. Well, funny you should mention that. I actually am a voiceover artist and video producer, and we make software tutorials for software companies all over anywhere in the world, really. So that's just sort of throwaway little line like that. And he was like, really? Before long, he introduced me to the company that he was representing. They were based in California. And we got chatting on Skype and everything. And before long, I was making videos for them. He was super excited because I gave him a bit of a commission for having introduced me. They were excited. They were getting great videos. And then I made a terrible mistake. I thought that I was funny. And it was a Monday, it was about 5 p.m. It was 9 o'clock in the morning in California, it was 5 p.m. here. I decided, let's have a glass of wine. It's been a long day. And my tongue got a bit loose. And what I did was, I told the $50,000 joke. Have you heard the $50,000 joke? I call it the you haven't heard it because I haven't told you. I call it the $50,000 joke because it's a joke that I told that cost me $50,000. Yeah. Goes like this. Did you know that elephants have their sexual organs in their feet? Did you know that? Because if they stand on you, you're fucked. Sorry for the profanity. I apologize. But that is the joke that I told to a client. Can you believe it? Not a smart move. So I hope in me telling you some of my stupidest mistakes, you'll realize you can actually still be somewhat successful after all that. But hopefully you won't have to make the exact same mistakes. The client never called me back. But luckily, one of the ladies that had left the company remembered me, connected with me on LinkedIn, and she went to another company all the way on the other side of the country in Boston. She then called me out the blue, said, hey, I'd like to talk to you about some other project for this company. And I spoke to them and started working with a guy, and his wife got cancer in the middle of the project and never heard from him again either. But just before that project ended, he introduced me to another lady all the way back in California who was supposed to be like my competitor, but we ended up collaborating. Anyway, she and I got to become friends. We're friends on Facebook now, very good friends. We've never met face to face. But she knows the quality of my work. And when it came time to do certain projects in the States, she recommended me. She actually recommended me and 3 other people. Of the 4 of us, I'm the only one who still works with this company in California. And although it didn't bring in a heck of a lot of money, it taught me a completely new skill in the voiceover and video realm. And today, about 50% of our company's turnover is a direct result of me having that accidental daughter and meeting that guy at the birthday party. So all I'm trying to say in telling you this very long, convoluted story is that you will make mistakes and you will have chance meetings with people. If you don't, what you need to do is you need to either meet somebody who is a gatekeeper, I call them, okay? Write that word down if you really want something tangible to take away. A gatekeeper is someone who can introduce you to all the right people that you need to know, right? Either you meet a gatekeeper or you become a gatekeeper. So that's how the US connection works. And today, yeah, we've now realized that, hey, we can compete anywhere in the world. Why stop at the United States? Why don't we just go and work in every single country we possibly want to? And there's an opportunity. If you are the kind of person who's got that chutzpah, who is willing to embrace a little bit of a technology, realize that, I mean, we've got Trevor Noah that's now sitting over there representing South Africans in New York. What an opportunity. Nobody even knew where South Africa was before. They thought, oh, is that a state? One of the in the southern? Yeah, I've heard of South Africa. Yeah, where's that? You know, they didn't really know. They knew Nelson Mandela and Oscar Pistorius. You know, that was about all they knew. And now they know Trevor Noah, which is far better than Oscar. Here's a couple of other little things. That's my website. Can you see it says a website currently under construction? It's been like that for 2 years. I'm more busy than I know what to do with, and I don't have a website. I don't have a business card either. I'm not saying it to show off. I'm just saying that if you're sitting here waiting for, what's the concrete steps? Must I get a business card? Must I get what kind of microphone? It's not important. It's not important. Yes, it's very important to have a website. Yes, it's important to be on social media. Yes, it's important to have fancy business cards and a fancy office and all these things. But is it really? You can record in your car. If you don't have a car, get a friend. They'll have a car. Okay? I'm just saying it's not all that important to do all these things that you think are important in order to be able to move ahead. This is what we do now. This is out of those, when I said, fear of missing, what is it? You only live once, you only live 9 times. I think I've had 8 different careers. Maybe this is the 9th one. I hope it's not the last. It's certainly, you have to have a sense of adaptability. If you're going to do whatever you do, some people are saying, oh, I really wanted to get into radio, and now someone discouraged me and said something that it may not be the best thing to get in. Go in a direction boldly and let life move you along the way. A lot of people, I kind of liken it like this. You know how we always say we're going to reach the summit, the pinnacle of success. Have you ever heard people talk about that? Climb the mountain of success. In fact, that first marketing company was called Summit Wealth, because I was going to reach the summit and become wealthy. That was what it was called, Summit Wealth. Never got anywhere near the summit. It should have been called base poverty, okay? And I realized afterwards, so many people I knew that had achieved a summit in life, that had been trying to get to the top of their career, eventually got there and then went around, what do we do now? We're at the top, cool. Nice view, okay, I suppose we come down now. And how many people do you know that have been engineers or great doctors or something like that, and then you ask, and they're retired now, and you ask them, what do you do? They go, well, I'm a retired doctor. It's almost like sad, I was once there, now I'm here. Be careful how you define yourself. I never say I'm a video producer or I'm a voiceover artist. I am currently doing voiceover work. I am currently producing videos, but that's not who I am. Take away my voice, I'm still me. Take away my ability to make videos, I'm still me. Be careful how you define yourself. So, the point is, before I get there, I'm having one of those moments, Mark, when you have that blank completely staring out into space. It's okay. I'm confident enough in myself that I've probably said too much anyway. Oh, the summit. That's what I was talking about. Let me just finish with this. I don't like to think of it as a summit. I like to think of it as a water slide. Who of you has been to a water park? Do anybody really like it? I mean, I love it. I could do it all day. I could just, like a kid, And here's the funny thing. You ever been in the water slide and there's someone really, really big that goes in front of you, and they wear those not slippery costumes, and so they have these big baggy pants, and they go down and they go, and they get stuck, and the water's ganging up behind them, and come on, man, get out the way. I want to go. I want to speed racer down this thing, Success for me is like that. It's not about trying to get to the top, because eventually if you get to the top, you're going to have to come down again. Then you're going to define yourself by what you were, your past experiences. One would think of life as a huge, long water slide, and we're all at the top. We all started at the top. You actually are on this water slide, whether you like it or not. And so many of you, and myself included, are sitting like this in the baggy pants with our hands on the sides going, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. If only someone would tell me what it is that I have to do. I'm here to just say, put your hands in, cross your legs so you don't get a wedgie, and just go with the flow. Enjoy it. Go down. Enjoy it. It's going to be a fun ride if you go, and there's no limit. It can keep going for as long as you want to keep going on the ride. Yeah, you might be a voice artist, or you might be a business owner, or you might be a production person at this particular point, but you don't know what's around the corner of that water slide. There might be something else that could way better, way, way better. Go for it. Just enjoy it and go down there. And I will tell you that maybe one day you'll be standing on a stage talking about wedgies and water slides and telling bad jokes to Americans and things someday. But you know what? That's who I am. I can't hide it. And I hope you got something from what I've said. I hope that it has something that I've said has resonated with you. Certainly resonates with me, and I've got a lot from this. So thank you very much for your time, and I'll open up to questions.